Get in. The back of the pickup.
She wore a yellow ribbon.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for being here. Okay, we'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. Heavenly Father, we come before you today to do the county's business. We ask that you be with us. Guide us in the way that we need to lead this community and take care of this community. I ask that you be with those that are serving throughout the country and throughout the world for freedom, basically, for independence, for peace. I ask that you be with those who are experiencing COVID, those that are needing your help in that way. In Jesus' name I pray, amen. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, and indivisible.
This is my first meeting. Never been to a meeting before. Didn't know what to do.
All right. So before we get into the Visitor Citizens Forum, I'm going to read from the Rules of Procedure, Conduct, and Decorum at meetings of the Scurry County Commissioners. Section D says, and we signed this in 2019, it is in the record of the clerk. It is the intention of the court to provide an open access to the citizens of Scurry County to address the Commissioners Court and to express themselves on issues of county government. Members of the public are reminded that the Scurry County Commissioners Court is a constitutional court with both judicial and legislative powers created under Article 5, Section 1 and Section 18 of the Texas Constitution. As a constitutional court, the Scurry County Commissioners Court also possesses the power to issue a contempt of court citation under Section 81.024 of the Texas Local Government Code. Accordingly, all members of the public in attendance at any regular, special, and/or emergency meeting of the court shall conduct themselves with proper respect and decorum in speaking to and/or addressing the court, in participating in public discussions before the court, and in all action in all actions in the presence of the court. Excuse me, I just came up the stairs. E, it is not the intention of the Scurry County Commissioners Court to provide a public forum for the demeaning of any individual or group. Neither is it the intention of the court to allow a member or members of the public to insult the honesty and or integrity of the court as a body or any member of the court, individually or collectively. Accordingly, profane, insulting, or threatening language directed to the court and or any person in the court's presence and or racial, ethnic, and or gender slurs or epithets will not be tolerated. These rules do not prohibit public criticism of the Commissioners Court, including criticism of any act, omission, policy, procedure, program, or service. Violations of these rules may result in the following sanctions: cancellation of a speaker's remaining time, removal from the Commissioner's courtroom, a contempt citation, and or such other civil and or criminal sanctions as may be authorized under the Constitution, statutes, and code of the state of Texas. I believe we just needed a reminder. So, at this time, any person with business before the court not scheduled on the agenda may speak to the court. No formal action can be taken on these items at this meeting. Each speaker will be limited to 3 minutes. Ms. Summers?
I attend these meetings because I have a right to attend these meetings. I do not attend these meetings with the hope of becoming a headline for a newspaper that prints more inaccuracies than it does facts. Like, for instance, this weekend's newspaper stating that this court was to meet on Tuesday. Whether or not that was just another mistake or a way to mislead the public, who knows? As for being pounced upon for my choice of one word, to that I will say, I have seen clothing choices in this courtroom that are more offensive than that one word. I had looked at the agenda and had initially thought there wasn't a reason to sit here today until we heard differently. We shall see what comes of this meeting today. We shall see if this court continues to show no transparency as it tries to justify the action it takes today. And I will remind this court, you are public servants. Keep that in mind as you make choices that will affect all taxpayers in this county.
Any other takers? Okay. Court to discuss and consider interprecinct project schedule and staffing.
Precinct 4.
Okay.
Almost there.
First of all, as we get into this is a great opportunity to welcome Tricia
Yes,
to the Commissioner's Court. We're so thankful you're here.
yes, we are.
Yes, ma'am. So, in precinct 4 is what's going on now, is what it looks like.
We're fixing to be through with it, maybe, this week.
I would like to finish.
Yeah, that's right. I was told that it more than likely would be finished today and that we'd be ready to prime possibly in the morning.
We're gonna order oil and prime both tomorrow.
That's up to you.
We
We can do it half or both or whatever you want to do.
prime tomorrow, prime tomorrow, and then shoot the next day.
All right.
Okay, court to discuss and consider items and amounts of each of the each line of the proposed 2022 county budget, including possible vote on the individual budget lines and items and whether amounts or items should be included and or excluded from the proposed budget. So, as you know, I don't have a proposed budget out yet. I'm required to do that August 15th. There are some things that need to be discussed, and I want your input before I do a proposed budget. I've given you each a list of what the total is, including all the requests, what the no new revenue rate is, and what the voter approval rate is, a list of requests, and I've invited each of the department heads or elected officials that have a request so that they can have input into their budgets as well. On the second page that I've given you is just some alternatives that we can look at. So let me start with the no new revenue rate is 53.61. The voter approval is 58.50. Total of the budget that we're looking at so far, and this includes all of the requests is 13,574,663. The no new revenue is 12,269,000. Voter approval rate is 13,413,696. So you can see we've got some work that stands before us. The total of the request is a little over $1 million. And I'll just go through these. I'll try to be quick about it, but you have these before you. In non-departmental, these are some things that I have put in there. Emergency reserve contingent, we've done this the last couple of years. It's $500,000. First year we did $1 million. Emergency management, bumped that up to 25,000 from zero. I'll explain that in a few minutes. Safety meetings, 12,000. We haven't had any safety meetings in a while. Rural fire brush trucks, 30,000. That is up from 10,000. They keep exceeding that line every year, so it's about 30,000 each year. The emergency management, the reason I did 25,000 in there is because the equipment that we have is years and years and years old, and it's falling apart. It needs to be caught up. We haven't done anything there in a long time. For the tax collector, looking at bulletproof glass for 2 doors and construction of 1 new window, it's about $20,000. And the reason that is there, I agree with this. Security. I think I think you all know that I am security minded, and I'd like to continue on that path. IT, add an additional person. Jeremy just is running through himself. Maintenance, regrading and crack repair at the library, and then adding a floor buffer. Sheriff's Department, 2 new vehicles if the prisoner keep does not exceed the budgeted $500,000 this year. And there's some ideas we need to discuss on that too. Health Department, covered parking to protect the county vehicles and trailer and to provide a drive-through vaccination area. That's kind of a two-part thing where they could do the vaccinations there on site instead of having to go somewhere else. Parks, a used Sheriff Department vehicle. We've done that in the past. A vehicle lift, that's 5,500. The used pickup is 12,000. Fence and backstop for Winston Field, 62,000. Concrete tee boxes for Frisbee golf, 15,000. Solar lights to replace the high voltage lights on the walking path, 62,870. Pool repair, 25,000, and a lease for a mower, 13,200 a year. Golf course, additional part-time of $7,000. It cuts out the overtime. Lease agreements for 2 mowers, 31,950. Irrigation lines match, 30,000. Which we have quite a bit in donations. It's over 70,000, I believe, right now, but that doesn't get us there to replace all the lines. 2 Kubota trucksters for 65,000. Those are bought out. Those would be buying outright. So $1,078,477. So that's
Good.
yes, sir.
Was the mower in there?
Yes, sir. As the lease.
Okay.
Yes, sir. So I've given you some alternatives here on the second page. And I'm just laying it all out and then we'll go back and discuss it all if y'all don't mind. Right off the top, if we remove all the requests, it's $1 million instead of $1,078,000. And that would leave us at $226,808 over the no new revenue rate. But it's still well below the voter approval rate. Or we could take road and bridge reserves, use $500,000 of that. Or a combination of, well, this was one option. Road and bridge reserves of $500,000. There is $426,000 still in the, we used $426,000 out of the construction fund for the jail. That total payment is $918,300. And then we have a capital projects line that has $219,000 in it. That would be $1,135,870. If we did that, it would bring it to $12,438,793, and it's still $169,000 over the no new revenue rate. We could use the road and bridge reserves of $500,000, use capital project funds of $209,870, and then use either 200,000, only put 200,000 in the reserves, or use 200,000 out of the INS. That would put us at 12,664, still over the no new revenue rate of $395,000. So we've got some work to do, and I didn't want to do this myself without y'all's input on this. So that's the layout of the land right now. Let's have some discussion on it.
Kind of weedy.
Yes, sir.
I don't see how we can do anything extra at all.
So you're suggesting cut all of the requests?
Yes. And that's just me. Wants, needs, it doesn't matter. We've got to look out for the taxpayers. But I also understand we got to look out for what we're trying to run. But in the end, it comes down to the money. And we can't control the whole revenue, which is what's caused the shortfall.
Right, 17% down.
Yes. But by the same token, we can hope that next year will be better to a point. Because we're a year behind.
We are. Yes, sir.
And that's just my thoughts, and I don't have a problem with taking $500,000 for road and bridge reserves, and I'm assuming you're gonna use that to fund part of road and bridge.
Yes, sir.
I don't have a problem with that.
Yes, sir. There's, and I forgot to mention this, there's 2.8 million in the road and bridge reserve fund.
You can put it in, but you get rid of it.
Right,
And I don't have issues with that.
right. On that note, if we do, use road and bridge, reserves to help fund the budget, it creates a deficit budget.
That's true.
Okay.
That's my fault. I mean, we gotta do what we can, because, I mean, it's no different than anybody else's budget. You do what you can, you go when you have to. And that's just the way I see it.
Thank you.
And so you're also considering taking out all requests, including the $500,000 we put in for emergency
Yeah.
reserve contingency.
I mean, like I said, I understand that, but there comes a point in time when you flat can't do it. And in my opinion, this is the time when you flat can't do it, in my opinion.
Thank you.
And so right now we have $1 million in emergency,
$1.5 million.
yeah,
Yes, sir.
which is nowhere near what should be there.
Right.
And really not a lot of money as compared to the entire budget, but wouldn't the bulletproof glass come out of courthouse security? Which is the only thing that you can purchase it for or use
Absolutely.
it for?
Yes, sir.
I mean, is the money there to do that? Or?
Yes, sir.
And then the $12,000 vehicle that the used sheriff's department vehicle, wouldn't that be a wash either? I mean, the sheriff's department would receive $12,000 for that vehicle. So it would reduce the amount of the vehicle that they're, so which would also take out the amount that they would use out of their budget to begin with, right? So wouldn't those two things be a wash?
Just if they got the 2 million.
Correct.
If they got over the $500,000 in they would buy them. If they didn't get more than that.
Fred, do you know where trade is?
Well, I don't know where it's at today. I can get a chance to talk to Angela. I know it's projections right now, we're probably not gonna hit it.
As far as IT is concerned, adding personnel, are we paying an exorbitant amount to CTSI still that would warrant that? Because they have multiple disciplines in their group that there's no way that 2 people in IT would be able to handle. There's still going to be things that they're going to have to handle that Jeremy or one other IT person won't be able to handle.
Sure. And I don't know that it's, you want to speak to that real quick, Jeremy?
Oh, yeah. And will be inhabited circumstances where we extensive knowledge and help. And I would personally see my needing help as more of a temporary situation and like to be viewed that way, because once Odyssey gets done with, once we get switched over to iDocket, which hopefully that will happen soon, that'll allow us to get rid of a lot, 10 or 11 Odyssey servers. And that's going to cut down on hardware cost and monthly, warranty and all that stuff that we pay towards those servers. So, and we're also going to explore other avenues of cutting costs for domain and server maintenance and all that. So I see it, would like to see it as more of a temporary situation.
And so is that something that you would feel good about using CTS I-4 for that short term?
I would prefer to have somebody here. And I know that the cost of having them send somebody here would be extreme.
So you think you can find a part-time person to fill that
Probably
gap?
so that gap, yeah.
You have somebody in
some
mind
other-
or?
Not yet.
Okay.
Or some other contract service, maybe Datcher or something like that, if they're able to get
Someone
somebody closer, right?
Yeah.
Someone that could, be on call to a degree or take care of a certain department that I need help with.
I like that idea.
Yeah.
And so we could remove 71,000 from that as well.
And I know the thought on that was, how much Jeremy's called to the different departments throughout to do lots of little things, computers not working, printers not working, things like that.
And all of that can be
Just throwing that out
solved
there.
over the phone with CTSI, which has been done for years.
Potentially.
Yeah, we have done it. And so anything that couldn't be resolved over the phone or with them taking control, because they can take absolute control of the computer,
Sure.
just as Jeremy can. But Jeremy can't split himself in 10 ways.
Exactly.
But they
Yeah.
do. They've got the client,
Yeah.
the people to do it. And so that would be something that we could certainly work on and use Daytrue as much as you needed to get transitioned over to this other system.
Mhm.
And then also use CTSI to take care of those that you can't get. And so you were talking about emergency management and why the need for that 1,000.
Sure. And something that is, that we can think about too is, we haven't discussed it at all, because we're still waiting on guidance from the feds on how we can use it, is that 1.6 that we've gotten so far from them. I think that fits to a T
Okay.
under that, and I think Dana's cover out there at the health
Would fit
department
there.
fits there as well.
Sure.
So,
We could wash those out then, if we really believe that
Sure.
will occur.
sure. But we've got it. I mean, it's there.
I mean, as far as
fitting.
them allowing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's still some more research on that needs to be done to find out for sure. I forget the terminology that they used for, something final. It didn't make any sense, their final answer on how we could use it. So, but those are potentially, areas that can be used. So we're looking at 50,000 on those too.
Okay. So that,
Judge,
Yes,
currently Stonewall County is in the process of building a new clinic
Mhm.
with some of those funds. Fisher County is also adding on a COVID clinic
Okay.
to theirs, and they are also using that funding. A lot of the jurisdictions have gone with mobile units. They have purchased fully loaded mobile units to go into the underserved areas too. So basically what I'm trying to do is do the best I can with the least amount of money as possible, but we have to have an area in order to do outside testing, outside vaccines. And as it is currently, we have to completely close down the health department to take my staff off-site in order to have a place to do that. And so I'm trying to make it multifunctional, where we have our trailer right there, we have the pickup right there, where we have that parking, but it can also be utilized as an outdoor drive-through. Because we had the meeting this morning, our cases are through the roof again. COVID is not going away. Unfortunately, it's just not. And with all the different variants that we have going on right now, it's going to be here for a while. And so that was the reason why, that was requested, is trying to be smart about using the funds, but it will definitely fall in those guidelines, because I've spoken to Stonewall, I've spoken to Fisher County, to make sure that if need be, that we could access some of those. And that's what they're using theirs for.
Sure. Okay, thank you.
and
Didn't come out of the county budget.
No, ma'am, it would be out of those funds. that we got from the federal government.
And so you're going to help with safety meetings going forward
Yes.
and do some training, trying to get people to understand what it is to be healthy and how to
Yes.
get there.
Yes, starting in September is our plan. We're basically gonna start trying to do a wellness program for our employees. And I've also spoken to the judge about possibly doing some COVID testing for our employees and household. And that way, that will keep us, instead of people having to quarantine for the full 14 days, if we can actually test them in the health department, that way that'll decrease the time that they have to spend at home, and we can get them back into their offices sooner.
Right.
So it would be a win-win. It'd be a win for our county offices, and it would also be a win for our employees. So, and as I said, it's just, we're really going to try to spend a lot more time focusing on the wellness factor, health and wellness for our employees.
Good. And so the 12,000 there, is that something that is, because I wasn't at budget meeting, is that something that was added to the health department for these safety meetings? or
It
you're
wouldn't,
talking-
this is in non-departmental.
Okay.
That's not in the health department.
Because I know we had safety meetings in ours,
Mhm.
budgets as well, and which we haven't really had those safety meetings in some time now for various reasons,
Yeah.
mainly because we're so far behind on our roads.
Right. Well, this would be for the
So that
countywide
would
safety
help. So
meetings.
that's the same. Okay, that's what I need.
And the brush trucks, those are.
That's maintenance,
It is.
and we can't change that.
It's every year. It's
Yeah,
30,000.
this is
every
not
year.
buying vehicles.
Right.
This is maintaining vehicles, and we almost burn up in 2010. We can't,
It's gonna be interesting this fall.
no, brother. You can't take that out.
Maintenance, regrouting and crack repair, Tom, you wanna, and the floor buffer, you wanna talk about that, the library?
Between 2002 and 2003, foundation was re-leveled at the library. And some of the residual effects of that were the cracks in the side of the building and everything. So moisture can get into the building, it can get through the brick that way, so we just want to make sure that's covered.
And cause that mold. Moisture getting into the building and causing a mold situation where you really got a
Yeah,
problem.
we want that either.
I know. So maintenance on our buildings that are in disrepair, that's something that's just gotta be done. And hopefully we can do it cheaper than what we budget for, but we've got to have a number in there to be able to protect those buildings unless we get something that's even worse. Our buildings start decaying. That's just something that we can't tolerate.
And you discussed, or you requested 5,000 for that, and then 10,000 for a floor buffer,
For a floor cleaner, yeah.
floor cleaner, okay, all right.
It's a little better than the one we've got, because we've got a lot of tight spaces.
Mhm.
And it's a little easier on the person who operates it, because it's a chair, they can actually ride in it. She does enough walking as it is, so. And then the other one, the one we have, that can go to Health Youth Center. So it just gets transferred.
What's thoughts on that?
And I'm assuming that's also disinfection of our floors, that we're not carrying that into offices with carpet in it, and then somebody's on the carpet, and you've got COVID or whatever they carried in, fungus or whatever it may be, so. Is that-
I'm not sure if it's a
that-
disinfectant that can clear we use. It's pretty common use.
Okay.
So it's just for the.
It's soap,
tiles.
right? Is it soap?
It is, it's I'll have to look at it, I'm not real sure about disinfectant.
Okay. I mean, that,
Where'd you say the old buffers go?
To the youth center. I've already talked to their maintenance guy, Lee. He said he could use it for sure.
what would you use here?
Well, it's the one the new one we're getting.
Okay.
Is, like I said, it's called a chariot.
And so you can use it, you're gonna use it both places. But
You
are you
will.
talking about just here?
You would use the new one here
Okay.
and the one they have
New
here.
At the
move
youth
over
center?
to the youth
Okay,
center.
okay, gotcha.
Oh,
Yeah, he's got a pretty big area to cover over there. I think he mops that whole gym by
Oh,
hand.
wow.
So he could really use it.
And it's good on gym floors.
You better than a mop, because
I mean, I assume that they were using some dust mop like we've always seen them use inside of the gyms. Well, I would.
I was told he uses a mop on that.
Oh, wow.
And,
Is-
so it puts the water down immediately, agitates and then sucks it right back up with the vacuum. Oh, it's gone.
I wonder if that's something that he's found he can do without damaging that floor.
We used to
Over
run
time.
it at the Coliseum.
Did y'all
on
do
that,
it?
Not permanent floor, water, yeah, it worked.
I'm for, if you have equipment that does more than a human can do, and you don't have to hire people, you're cheaper in the long run for sure. I don't know that you'd have to hire somebody to help if you didn't have something like this. I know y'all bought one a long time ago and it's made a lot of difference in the steps made. I know that Sally used to be one of the top ones on contests from all the steps that she did make. It's kind of went down from there with this. What do you think, Judge? Yeah. Trish? We need our floors clean for sure, but if you think there's a better way to do it, or continue to do it the same way we're doing it.
Is there anything wrong with the one that we got now?
No, works good. It's just a little
It's
bit
just
longer and it's harder to get in these tight spots.
It's probably hard for Sally to push.
Well, it's motorized, so that it runs itself, all you have to do is push a button.
Got it.
Not heavy.
I think we definitely need to do the crack repair, but I think we could wait another year on the buffer. What do you think, Judge?
Hey, one input, that's why we're doing this.
I think,
We'll go back through and vote on these.
I think the sheriff's pickups, or if he goes above $500,000 in income, those vehicles are got lots and lots of miles.
I'm thinking you're
I'm not, she just
Almost.
texted me, it's not gonna be close, it's gonna be way short.
okay.
I'm at 221 right now, so we're not even halfway.
Okay. All right.
What did we set the revenue for 22?
Four. Was it four?
I mean, we had discussed 3, I don't know if it stays there or not.
The two vehicles you're wanting to replace, how many miles are on them now?
They're gonna, by the time I replaced them, they'd be right at 100.
That's not like running a regular vehicle.
No, our transports have just shot through the roof. I run my car as much as I can. We run those trucks all over the country, literally, so they.
Maybe
I have to
another,
keep good reliability.
maybe
Not
another
only for
car.
that, but for just emergency response.
Yeah.
That's
Well, that's true.
always been a priority one for me with my equipment.
Sure, maybe. I think I actually. Thank you.
I found it earlier, but I can't find it again.
It's gonna be over there. We did $500,000 this year for 2021's budget. And looking at 400 is what I put for this year. Since you're, when I looked at it initially, you were at a little over 200. So, and looking at it, didn't see us reaching potentially 500 next year, so. But we had a discussion just a couple of days ago about that would actually fit into this, if you wanna talk about that now.
I can, I mean, I have the ability, we have the room, I just don't have the staff to house additional inmates. I could fill up near, I don't think I can, I know I could fill up a third pod, but we would have to hire 3 additional employees. Now, even doing that, it would still generate $500,000 to $600,000 a year in revenue, even with the employees, because it'd be around 8, I think, somewhere right in there. I'd have to do the math again, but it would be right in there somewhere to where the revenue that we would generate, and then, take those employees out. The need for beds is just crazy. I just recently got back from the sheriff's conference, and the sheriff in Howard counties asked me at the conference to do a contract with him. He did a variance with the jail commission, and he'll probably get it, but it'll be temporary, so he's gonna need beds. Taylor County they're just hammered. They're housing within 300-400 miles of Abilene, they're housing inmates. So, and I've already got a bunch of theirs right now. I've kept a bunch of theirs. It looks like I'm gonna keep Fisher County through the fall. Now they were fixing to open back up, but now they're telling us October, November, so it's not a lot, but it's 10 to 12 inmates that we average. So the potential for the revenue, but again, it just is gonna take additional staff. If I filled the jail up with my staff, I've got a compliance with the jail commission. I'm not gonna do that. So that's the trade-off to think about, is the staff, but what putting the staff on, what additional revenue it would generate. So
The additional revenue would be far beyond the cost to put on 3 staff.
Oh, absolutely. I think, I'm gonna say it would be 250, somewhere around there for 3 employees. I'm just guessing. I mean, Chris would probably speak to it better than I can. But,
3 employees would cost us about an extra $250,000.
so,
And you
and
could
we would,
potentially make
and
500,000
we
to
should,
600,000.
yeah, we generate probably around, I'm gonna be conservative, I'm gonna say 700,000 with those 3 inmates, with those 3 staff, so take that out, and that would be the difference, would be the revenue we could generate.
So looking at the last few years, 2019 is when you really kicked off. We added 3
Yes.
employees there. $671,000 is what we brought in. And our slow COVID year last year, 586,000. And then we're at 221 so far this year. This is as of, the 1st of August.
And I think what you're seeing there is probably just, it's catching up. I think
Yeah.
That's what you're seeing.
Yeah.
But like I said, he asked me at the conference to do, if I could do a contract. And I'm gonna do a contract with him, and help him when I can, but right now I'm full with the staff I have, I'm full. So I just can't exceed that number with my current stuff. I have the beds.
I think a business like that anytime.
We proved it works, in 19 and 20. And
Well, and I've always, let me just say this while I'm speaking about, I've always, in fact, with the exception of 1 year, I think, I purchased my patrol units out of that revenue.
Right.
So, I mean, it's gonna be short this year, and I don't wanna not be able to buy my trucks because of that reason, but I feel like it's really saved the taxpayers a lot of money in
Yeah.
what we're doing with generating this revenue. You know, basically these other counties have funded vehicles for us, which is a good thing. It didn't have to come out of taxpayers' money.
But if you go ahead and do that now, you're talking about 50,000 additional dollars per month to the end of the year.
If I hire the staff now.
Yeah.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I mean, it would just hinge on how fast I could get people hired. I mean, that's what it would hinge on. I think I could, as soon as I had the staff, I could start filling the bids.
Let's put it on the agenda.
Trey, the last, the 2 years, about 19 and 20.
Mhm.
Did you not have the staff for that many people? Or why is it, and I'm asking, why is the revenue them 2 years so high versus this one?
They haven't brought us the inmates this year. They haven't, it literally changes day to day. I mean, it literally does. Like, you know, Taylor County they could call Joe right now and say, we're coming to get 10. I mean, that's exactly what happens. But then they just bring them back, and I was speaking to Ricky. Usually what they do is they'll bring so many and they'll pick so many up. They try to change them out, but they're housing down in Upton County, which is about 3.5 hours from Abilene. And he's with another county. It's amazing how many inmates they've outsourced to these other counties, but he said the county contacted him actually last week. I don't know what the reason it was, but they wanted him to come get all of his inmates. I think he had 30 or 40, maybe 50 inmates with that fire. But I mean, he's hunting beds for those people. I mean, I think it's just a daily fight with him, but the numbers fluctuate. I mean, every day, you know, I mean, and I'm not gonna sit there and blow no smoke. There's no guarantee that I can keep those inmates, you know, but I think like we addressed the first time, if we lose them and we don't keep the jail full, then I think through attrition, we just eliminate those positions. It's not going to be a big stretch. If we don't need them, then obviously I'm not going to keep them, but it's just a tight wire to walk, you know. I mean, trying to keep keep people hired and keep these staff or these inmates in the jail. So, but I see the need right now. I mean, I think it will continue, especially with Taylor County. I don't see the way Ricky talked, they're not doing anything. I don't think they're in the process of trying to build anything. I mean, I know they struggle over there like everybody does. So, and then Fisher County, like I said, it went from, they were coming to get them last week to now they're going to be here through the fall. So, I mean, it's just, I think as long as we want to house inmates, we can house inmates. That's what I'm getting at.
And right now you can be selective
Oh, I am.
on the
I very
counties
much
that you
am.
do.
Yes,
Hey, it's a statewide problem, even when I've been to schools.
Yeah, I told Joe to get me some numbers. I don't have them with me. I told him to get me some numbers together, but it's amazing how many counties within I don't remember what he told me, 200 or 300 mile radius of here that are needing beds or wanting to house. I mean, all the way up into the Panhandle, they just,
Right.
if it's available, they'll bring them to you. So I know there was one county that said they would house, they'd go anywhere in the state of Texas to house their inmates. So it's pretty desperate.
I mean, and that makes half the payment on the jail, the amount that we bring in. 3 more could make the payment, make the
Sure.
full payment, adding 3 jailers, potentially.
Potentially, you're right. That's right.
Potentially.
Do most counties do, like you said, bring you 10 and pick up 10 or?
They do because they're full, but you know, they'll come get them because they need to take them to court or they're releasing them or whatever, you know, whatever reason. But they usually will, like Taylor County's excellent about it. They'll if they're picking up 10, they'll bring 10 to replace them. That's what they do. And then Fisher County, they come get them day by day, you know, but they're averaging 10 to 12 a month. Like I said, it's not a lot, but I mean, that still generates revenue.
Yeah.
$40 a day per inmate or 45 with Taylor County.
There will be times that they'll come pick one up and won't drop one off.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that happens. That does.
Well, you're at the mercy of who you're doing business with.
Absolutely.
Right.
The thing that's that's good about it is there's multiple counties that you're
Yeah,
doing
that's
business
right.
with, so you
That's
can pick and choose and you
Yeah,
can.
I have a contract with Tom Green County, and we had a bunch up until not too long ago, and they come and got them. They fluctuate, but they're one of them. I might have 25 of their inmates today, and they might call tomorrow and say, hey, we're coming to get them. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the chance you take
Oh, yeah.
with what we're doing, but
Sure.
like I said, it's not gonna hurt us long term. If we lose them and we can't get them back, then I feel like they're attrition.
Yeah.
I don't have a huge turnover, thank goodness, but with that turnover that we have, we can eliminate those spots if we need to do that.
But if they come and pick them up.
I've got several. Like I said, I'm fixing to do with Howard. I've got Tom Green. We have Ector County. I have Taylor County. I did have one with Lynn County. They haven't brought us any in a while. So yes, and Fisher County. We have several. Yes, ma'am. So we're not dependent on one county.
Victor County, they completed their jail, is that my
They feel
understanding?
it's full. They're at capacity.
So potentially we could get more from Victor County.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I mean, literally any day. I know it sounds crazy, but
No,
that's literally how it works. I mean, I could, the phone could ring today and Tom Green saying, hey, we need to bring you 15 inmates. It's just that quick, and so how it works, So, but I think it's not it's not, especially like Taylor County. I get along great with Rick, and he, I think that's gonna be a long-term deal with Taylor County for a long time. And honestly, I feel like it's gonna be with Fisher County as well. I mean, I know they struggle trying to keep their jail staff, which I understand that. So I feel like that we keep those inmates for a while.
Both the counties got theirs full, and they're getting more and more every day.
Oh, yeah.
They're
I
working.
can say that.
so that's something that we need to revisit soon. Do that next
I
week.
agree, absolutely.
About the Parks Department, we talked about the used pickup, and that's dependent on the sheriff's department. Larry, you wanna talk to some of these things, vehicle lift, and start with that?
Two that stands out, pool repair. We, have patched it, but we have a company that's come in. It's, we've got cracks between our gunite and our slab, and that is gonna have to be addressed. It's just gonna get worse. The solar lights, I think they'd pay for themselves. We're on that high voltage 480. We're gonna kill somebody someday.
I agree. And you're just gonna save money year after year by doing it.
Yeah, we've had one short out and it was smoking. And if somebody
Wow.
had come up there and touched it, it killed them. It's just they're obsolete, they're getting worse. And with this solar lighting, it was 76,000.
That was the initial, but you said you could put in less lights.
We're gonna put in less lights, but it's gonna cost 76,000.
Okay. I didn't realize that.
I thought it was gonna be the same number of lights, but, they did the study and said that's how many you're gonna need.
Any idea how much it costs yearly electric bill just for those lights? Is there a way to know that?
There probably is, but I don't have that, but you figure there's 69 lights burning 12 hours a night, 365 days a year.
Yeah.
High voltage, it's gotta be pretty heavy.
So you could probably make that back in a year.
I'm gonna say in 3 years, surely we pay for it.
Besides, we're losing more power underground because of the way it's connected, right?
Right.
Because electrolysis is eating a lot of those bases up. And so that's power.
And we've knocked out a lot of our globes with this last hailstorm. Those things, can you remember what I told you?
You said they were $250, $300 a
They're
piece.
expensive.
Globe. And those globes last 4 or 5 years and they rot. And we were thinking to get up there and put Gorilla Tape over all the holes to get to January.
So not only is it's as much a safety issue as anything.
Yeah.
Because of the,
I think so. The solar lights in the swimming pool has got to be repaired.
Now, the leakage is a lot of the problem at those lights. There's
Yeah.
tons of leakage underground.
Anytime we get a huge rain, we're gonna have a short.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
So somebody steps on the ground barefooted. Hello.
Yeah, the last time they went out, we turned them all off and didn't even think about repairing any.
Just one more year. Right?
Right, guys, I've always said, we'll take what you give us, no hard feelings, what you don't take, we'll make it work. Those are two things that stand out. Should I talk about the mower?
Sure.
Right now,
Yeah.
sorry,
with the mower we've asked for, that's a weird thing. The school has been talking to us about taking over Moffett and Kate's. And if they take that over, and I don't know where that stands, it's week to week, day to day. If they take that over, say September 1st or 4 months down the line from now, we would give them a couple of our mowers, and that's why we were asking for this mower. Do I need it today? No. Will I need it the day after if the school takes it? I need it. So, that could be something we could go another year. There's not a thing on here that can't go another year except for pool repair and solar lights.
How long have they been talking about that?
I was still here.
2 years. COVID shut it down, and then the next, I don't know really what shut it down. Just, they get hot on it and then they get cold. So.
other priorities. And that's the way it goes. I understand that. Okay, I mentioned earlier that, capital projects line. It's got $219,000 in it. That could be used.
The solar lights are definitely coming
Yes, ma'am. Pool repair?
Yeah.
So that's 101,000 that we could use for those two, and we could actually eliminate those from next year's budget and put it on an agenda this year to vote to use that this year and just get it done if we wanted to.
The only other thing, it would be a want, not a need, is to finish those backstops and redo Winston Field.
Mhm.
But it can go another year. Fences and backstop.
And it's got holes in the backstop? What is the problem that you're wanting to fix?
Then up there, there's balls and knock holes through it. They're just in shoddy shape, just like Little League, Farm League, all the others. We have not done the backstops at North Park, but we do have the material to do it. So we'll work that in. So that wasn't something I asked for, but Winston is the only field left that we haven't redone, the fences and backstops. And like I said, it certainly can go another year.
And that could probably go under that capital projects as well.
It's,
It would just have to-
maintenance has got, we've got to maintain what we
I
have.
agree.
We don't
agree.
do that, we're crazy. And I agree, that's a good place to take care of that. And we're gonna save tons of money on those solar lights.
Mhm. So honestly, the tee boxes could fit in there as well. If we wanted to use that capital projects fund, so. Is that? do you
For the
think?
frisbee golf.
Maybe not. Okay, so we'll eliminate that one.
Well, just because you got the money, don't mean you gotta spend it.
I understand that, I do, but you have to maintain what you do have too. And if you have a safety issue like the electrical in the park, then
I don't have a problem with lights.
on the pool repair, I think that if you don't fix it, it gets worse and then it costs you more money down the line, or you have to close it down too.
Judge, may I say something on the pools?
Sure.
It does have to be permitted and it does have to be inspected. So that is one thing to take into consideration, because if that's not taken care of, it will fail inspection and we won't be able to open it.
Okay.
So that's just something to take into consideration whenever you're looking at the splash pad, whenever you're looking at the swimming pool, they do have to be permitted now.
Well, and next year it could be $50,000
Correct.
to repair it,
Yes,
you know, and you're closed during 2022 season.
correct. And so that, as I said, that's just something just back, because before they did not have to be inspected. But now swimming pools, public pools do have to pass inspections.
Okay, golf course, let's
So,
talk to,
so I know what y'all did, what y'all say on
Well,
Wednesday.
yeah, it's not decided just yet, but, talking about, well, we'll come back, we'll come back and make a final decision, for sure. The golf course, the additional part-time cuts out the overtime, that's adding a person, basically part-time. Lease agreement for 2 mowers, adding some money for the irrigation lines to match what's out there, and 2 Kubota trucksters, so, have you hired somebody for part-time
I
yet,
have.
or?
One guy that's there in the morning and then Brayson's there in the afternoon, but he's going back to school.
Sure.
And we only need somebody from April to November.
Mhm.
Because
Sure.
We've taken care of the accounting problem and gotten it earlier.
Okay.
But even if you cut the carts off at 6 o'clock, by the time some of them come in, it's 8 o'clock, 8:30, 9 o'clock.
Mhm.
It depends on how fast they play. And even though I have a sign that says they need to be in by 7:45, they don't listen to that. And they
Sure.
stay out there and so
Okay.
that's the biggest problem, because we cannot, because they have cart rental agreements to protect the county.
Sure.
We have to keep those carts sanitized, or, well, we're still doing that, but we have to clean them to make sure that there's no damage to them, because that's our part of the liability.
Right.
And their part is to sign the cart rental agreement. And so if they don't come in, you've still got to clean them
Mhm.
that night, because you can't wait till the next morning, because we hit the ground running with this season, which, because it's a lot because of COVID, because people didn't have anything to do. And what else is there to do in this town? The movie theater is iffy, and besides that, you don't want to be in a crowd. So an outdoor activity is the only thing that's left available. And we have increased, we actually need 2 people there at all times. We need one person there to take care of the carts, and we need somebody there to take the money, because you don't want to leave one place to go to the other, you know, when you're that busy. It's just not really feasible.
Sid, talk to us about the equipment, where it stands and what's going on with it.
Well, the equipment's in pretty bad shape through the years of abuse before I was there. If it really wasn't up for Larry, we wouldn't have a golf course. We borrow a bunch of equipment from him, which has helped us out tremendously. I have one mower, in my opinion, it has not much left in it. It'll probably make it a year, and it's gonna need a whole new engine. When you put a whole new engine in it, the hydraulics are gonna need to be redone. It's on its last leg. So we need a rough mower. I'm borrowing a tractor from Larry right now because mine have gone down. So we need some trucksters and we need some mowers, just to that point.
I think we're gonna keep the thing open, that we have to have the tools that are needed by those that are maintaining it to be able to do that. And I certainly don't know what it takes. That's why we have a professional here.
Right now, we have people, because we've had rain, we've had people come all over the place, from Abilene, Lubbock, San Angelo, Colorado City, Abilene. I mean, they just, once people hear about the course and what it looks like because of Sid's expertise, they come to play.
And your revenues have improved every year.
Yes.
And so you don't want to let something get away that's, because it don't come back tomorrow. We've already had some of that.
Yeah.
Where it failed 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And it took Sid forever to bring it back to life.
Well, he's done an excellent job,
He has.
in my opinion, because when I came to work there was like 23 leaks. And he has done, I mean, they work.
And the community has helped a lot,
Yes.
spending thousands of dollars on renewing wells and putting in lines and helping him out with the
Yeah.
things that the court hasn't, that they've done.
Yeah.
Tens of thousands of dollars. And so we've got a pretty
The
good
membership
partnership.
has increased, the play has increased, so, I mean, if you can make money like that, even though it's not a normal type thing, we'll take money wherever we can get it.
Sure, absolutely.
I mean, COVID has definitely helped us. It's the only
Yeah.
industry that
Yeah.
has been helped by.
Yeah.
Everyone in the state that I've talked to, their revenue is way up. It will go back down sooner or later.
Not if COVID increases again.
Yeah, that is true. But the revenue has gone up every year since we've been there.
I didn't bring my phone to have my calculator with me.
I will say, Sid doesn't get equipment, we don't mind loaning, but ours is wearing out too, so.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
I mean, I probably have equipment that he wants back.
Well, the time that you spend transporting equipment back and forth is time lost. That you could be doing your job. It's like the health unit. While you're gone from the health unit, those underserved individuals that can't afford to go to a different place don't get served. And that's not what we're about. We're about helping do what we need to do to maintain, to keep people service. That's what we do. We serve people. And if you don't have the things you need to do that, it's impossible to do. I don't like taxes any more than anybody else does. I pay a bunch of them, but I love this county, unlike some people. I love the people, and I love the people that do their jobs and do them very well in this county. And y'all do a great job. So I want to support you in that. And I'm not saying Sean doesn't, because I think he does. I think he's thinking more of budgeting than he is about the things that are needed in order to make this thing work. And I think you either get rid of whatever the cost that's above what a taxpayer wants to support or you fund it in a way that people can actually do their job. I'm not for funding everything, but I'm for funding those things that are absolutely show to be needed and increasing revenue whenever you can.
Okay, going through the discussion that we just had. Keeping 12,000 in safety meeting, keeping 30,000 for the brush trucks. Cutting the other two out. Using courthouse security for the tax collectors bulletproof glass. Cutting IT personnel. Leaving 5,000 for maintenance for the regrading and crack repair at the library. I left out the sheriff's vehicle on this, but that can be, I can go back and figure that here in a second. Using the American Rescue Plan money for the health department, keeping the used sheriff's department vehicle, cutting the vehicle lift, the backstop, and the T-boxes, using, and I didn't put the mower lease in there, but using the solar lights and the pool repair for the capital projects, keeping the golf course as it is. The total, that total is $152,950, down from $1,078,477, cutting $934,527 out of that list. That would put us at $12,640,106. Again, the no new revenue rate is $12,269,378. If we could use $370,728 from road and bridge reserves, that would put us right at $12,269,378. And that is right at the same money as last year. That's not raising it any higher than what the legislature did to us when they did this setup. So 5361 is what the tax rate would be. So something to think about. Where do y'all stand on?
You know where else they are.
I think that's what we ought to do.
No, it'll probably, I'm sorry.
Hang on a minute. The numbers we have right now are still preliminary, correct?
They are preliminary. This is not a set deal. This is gonna go into the proposed.
Right. So that's something you gotta remember, it could change one way or another.
Absolutely.
Well, okay. Let's make sure.
In this, would you want me to go ahead and put the two new sheriff vehicles in there, in those numbers?
I think if you, how many miles a year, how old are these vehicles that have got 100,000 miles on them?
They're 17, I think.
17.
4 years old.
So 4. So you're putting 25,000 a year on it, so 125,000 next year.
Yeah.
And you'll have 2 more at 100,000, I assume,
The following year?
the following year.
Yeah, next year.
Trying to get behind.
Could we wait on the vehicles and hopefully thinking that he's gonna bring in some more money if we open up that third pod? And then we can do it then?
Good budget amendment.
Yeah.
Nobody likes them.
Well, then you got the revenue.
You got the money to, yeah, I agree. That's nothing wrong with that.
That's
I agree.
Leave it out.
for now. With the outlook that we will come back to it when you,
Well, it would be this time next year, would it not? Because it would,
not necessarily, if you raise the revenue. when
He's
you get
saying
those
by the
three
end of the
pods
year.
open, you're gonna bring in more revenue than you intend, than you thought you were.
Oh, you mean for this year?
Yeah, for this
Yep.
year, and then you can get them. That work for you?
Whatever you want.
Better than nothing.
It'd be the same thing,
So we'll,
really.
Yeah.
It's-
and I'll put that on the agenda for next week to vote on opening the new pod with the new jailers. So
That's good.
Yeah, I know, bro.
Sure, got this. Right ahead. Does anybody of any of the departments have any thoughts? Okay, thank you. Do we want to take a vote on this?
And this is for your proposed budget, which, as Sean said, is not written in stone.
Correct.
We're not setting a tax rate or anything
Right.
yet.
This is just
So-
giving me guidance to
And I
propose a
appreciate
budget.
that very much, Judge. And I make a motion that we accept this as part of the judge's budget, proposed budget, and for him to file with the county clerk.
What we discussed.
What we discussed
Okay.
just now, yes.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, all in favor? All opposed? Thank you. everyone. There are no line item transfers, budget items, or accounts payable, so we can do that.
Motion that
Second it.
All in favor? All right, thank you, everyone. I appreciate everybody coming in.
Okay.
Gina's down there. Yeah.
I'll take it to Gina.
No, you're in.